Welcome to the Inconceivably Connected podcast. I'm your host and fellow donor conceived person, Nick Ludwig. On this week's episode, we'll be speaking with a man named Tyler from the state of North Carolina. And there's a very unique element to his story that I believe is a first on the podcast. He only found out he's donor conceived about a month before this recording. Most of the podcast guests so far have had many months, if not years, to have processed their DCP discoveries before sharing their stories. But Tyler's is still extremely fresh, and he's choosing to give us a peek into what his experience has been like so far, as many of the pieces are still falling into place. This period along the DCP journey is a fascinating one, that time before all the dust has had a chance to settle. I, myself, look back on that time during my own journey and can recall specific feelings, like still having to find my footing with embracing this new reality, and making sense of each new piece to the puzzle. That aftershock phase, where we might be accepting of this new part of ourselves, but maybe haven't fully integrated everything into our lives yet. This seems to be where Tyler is at currently, and I have a feeling you'll all appreciate his outlook and where his journey as a DCP might lead him to going forward. Tyler, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tyler, and I am a donor-conceived person, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm coming on this podcast with Mr. Nick Ludwig, and I'm very happy to be here. This is a podcast I've really enjoyed listening to in my car over the past few days since I found out about it, because I just found out about my origin about a month ago. So I'm really new into this world and this discovery and this community. And I think that it will be interesting. I don't think many people come on the program this early in their discovery to tell the story. So, and also Nick has told me, and I've seen that there's not a lot of people who are male. Like there's not a lot of men who come on and tell their story either. So I'm happy to offer my perspective.
All right. Let's hear what this last month has been like for you.
Yeah, well, so I guess I should start with the DNA test. I think that's a good place to start. So I ordered a DNA test because my father, well, first of all, let me say before I say anything that I love my parents and I have nothing but respect for them. And my respect and love for them has only grown after this discovery. And I'm very conscious of saying anything that could be taken as disrespect to them, because they are a huge part of my life and we're very close. So I just wanted to get that out the way and say that they've been together for over 40 years. They're still together now. So I really love my parents a lot. So I just wanted to say that. But yeah, so my father, my dad, he was always somewhat secretive with his family history with us. And when I would ask him questions about like what it was like growing up and his extended family, and like he really wouldn't say much. Like I knew my grandpa and my grandma on my dad's side, like my dad's mom and dad, but I didn't really see his other relatives that much, and he didn't tell us much. He didn't talk about it himself much at all to us. So one day I just thought, I'm the type of person where if I get the sense that people are keeping information from me, or that I don't have the truth about something, I just go for it. I just go and get it myself. I'm just like, okay, I can find this out myself. Let's go. So, so I got the DNA kit, and I did it, and I got the results back from Ancestry.com, and I remember, of course, this is common to a lot of people's stories. A lot of the mom sides there, my cousin, my mom's side, my mom's cousin, my mom's uncle, they're all there. Lots of people with her maiden name, other names. But on my dad's side, there's just nobody. And there aren't that many results to begin with, but the results that are there there's nothing related to my dad in there. So, but there is a surprise relative who I read as a cousin, because Ancestry, the way they do it is they hide the people who are, I guess, still living. I don't really know how it works, how the privacy works, but for some reason I could only see the initials of this person whose name was BR, and they were listed as a first cousin to me on my dad's side. So I thought, oh, this is weird. I have a long lost cousin.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about like DNA or family relations or anything like that. So I reached out to the owner of that account and just said, hey, I just found out that I have like a cousin on this platform. Like, do you want to like share notes or something? And I didn't get a response back. So I just thought, well, okay, I don't know what this is, but what can I do? But then I kept going back to it, and I was like, this is really odd. And then when I matched it up, because they give you some dates for like the ancestors of the person, even though if they don't show you the person, they show you like the birthday of the ancestors, if their tree is there. So I lined it up, and then I said, oh, wait a second. This person is much younger than me. This person is like a generation younger than me. Must be. And then I saw that it gives you like variations of what it could be. And first cousin is one, but it could also be nephew, half nephew. And I was like, oh, this person's my nephew. And then so I said, I looked again at the tree, and so I said, that means I must have a sister. And for some reason, like all I thought of, the first thing I thought of when I saw that was how my mom, she always used to complain how she was the only girl in the family. Like, because it's me and my mom and dad and my brother, and so she would always say, "Oh, I'm the only girl in the family," So I don't know why I thought about that, but anyway. So like, so then I still couldn't get anywhere with it, so I kind of let it go. But then it just kept bugging me. So I was talking to some friends, and they were explaining to me that, okay, you have an unknown half sister on your dad's side. So, and because I was telling them about it, and they were like, well, if you reach out to this person, she might not want to talk to you.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I understand. That's right. So I kind of like put my expectations down at that point. But then it just kept bugging me. So I found out that I can download my DNA and upload it to a different database. So I did that. I downloaded it and uploaded it to Family Tree DNA. And then I saw a new development. I saw they had names and location, emails for this person, this sister, and also a brother. So now I'm like, I have a sister and a brother. And they're two different last names in two different parts of in two different states. And I'm like, this is really strange. So I emailed them both again at that point. This is like 4 months ago or 5 months ago or something. So I emailed them both, and I didn't get a response. So again, I just kind of said, well, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Like maybe they don't want to talk to me for some reason. I don't know. Okay. So a whole bunch of stuff happened in my life after that. And I don't want to go into everything, but a whole bunch of personal stuff happened. I was in a relationship that was really like serious, and that kind of like crumbled all of a sudden in like a startling way. And so a bunch of personal stuff happened to me. I ended up going back to my parents' house for a while, and then I ended up moving out to my own place. All this happened really fast. Yeah. So I guess I kind of buried this question because there was no way that I could have dealt with that while this other stuff was going on. So, but the thing is, once I got to my own place, there was this little voice inside that was just like, you need to find out why your dad is not in this result. And it just started screaming louder. I couldn't ignore it anymore. So at that point, Also, one of the things that happened in my life in this short period of time is we learned that my dad has some pretty serious health problems. He has like stage 4 cancer, and it caught us all of a sudden. Like it just happened all of a sudden, like by surprise.
Yeah.
So once I started having this feeling that I should investigate this, I thought, if there's a way for me to get answers without talking to them, I would prefer that, because I don't want to do something that would make my dad's situation get worse or cause a scandal or something, because like,
right,
obviously I care about my dad a lot. So so I sat down and I turned into a DNA detective, right?
As we all do.
All of us do. Yeah. So I mean, I got the newspapers.com account, and I got the what else did I do? The obituaries, and I was reaching out to a whole bunch of different people who have trees and trying to line it up, and like I actually did get pretty far in my research this way. What I did was I managed to, by going to some of the DNA matches on my paternal side, which I now know is the donor side, I was able to find connect two sides to identify an ancestor, right? Because I had someone had a DNA match to me who was like a grand aunt or a first cousin, first removed. So I figured out that must be my biological father's cousin.
Right.
You follow?
Yep.
So that means, again, I'm learning this all as I go. That means that this person and my biological father share a grandparent,
okay.
Right? It must be, it has to be. So once I made that leap, then I looked through each grandparent of this person, and I tried to hook that person up with other matches in my DNA results. So I was really going into this thing because I was like, I need answers now, and I don't want to talk to my parents. So like, so I did identify a great grandparent on the system, because they keep really good records of all the people from the past. Mm-hmm. They give you names, they give you pictures, they give you full trees, everything. So that narrows it down to this person's grandchildren, of which there were like a large number, but still, that's a lot better than everyone in the universe. But it's still not enough. It's still not proof. Mm-hmm. It's still not evidence. Like, because there could be anything could happen. There could be like a forged identity. There could be someone made a mistake on their tree. There could be, someone changed their name. Anything. There could be a secret child from someone. Like it doesn't really. It's not really proof of anything.
Right.
So at this point, I realized I've got to confront my parents. There's the only way. Mm-hmm. And so I went to them and I talked to my mom, and I just said, "Hey mom, I got my DNA results back and I want to talk to you. Like, do you want to know what I found?" And at that point, I think she knew that I knew something, but she didn't know how much I knew. So she just said, "Okay, let's talk about it with Dad." And so the three of us sat down, and they broke the news to me, mm-hmm. that I was a donor conceived. And I didn't want to believe them at first, because this is the funny thing. I never actually considered that I was donor conceived until that night.
Right.
I'd gone through so many different possibilities in my mind of what could have happened. Even I thought maybe my dad had been a sperm donor.
Okay.
And these people on my results were like his sperm donation children. But then I thought, that doesn't really fit my dad at all. Like, that's not his personality to do that.
Yeah.
So when they told me that I was donor conceived, I didn't believe them, actually. And I was upset, and I think I stormed out, or I left abruptly. But what I did after that was but here's the thing. They gave me a piece of information that it took place in Chapel Hill. Okay. So I thanked them for that. I said, "Thank you for telling me that." that's something I can use. So, but what I did immediately when I learned this was I called all my friends and I told them everything, because like it just felt so good to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I was released from like a huge prison to know that. So I'm very blessed to have good friends who like actually like appreciate me for who I am. And it took me a long time to get to that point. Like I actually had a long period of time when I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the process of like, at some point in my life, I just thought, from now on, I'm only going to deal with people who I can be myself to them.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't have to like hide who I am, pretend like I'm someone I'm not. And that was a really painful process to get to the point where I could actually have friends I could talk to about this. And it took a place over like 3 or 4 years. And I lost a lot of people actually in my life during that time. But in the end, I gained a lot of people who I could call in this night and just say, guess what I found out?
Yeah.
And they would be like, whoa, that's crazy, man. That's so cool. And we were like going back and forth, and we're just making jokes with each other, and like I'm just laughing up a storm, and I'm walking up and down the neighborhood. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock p.m. and I'm just like cackling like crazy. And it was a great feeling, really, to know the truth. It was so it was just so like a relief, I felt relieved.
Like weight was taken off of your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. The burden was lifted off my shoulders at that moment.
Right. And it sounds like, I think at our age, I'm 38 and I think you said you're 39, to be surprised in a way of this magnitude. Sometimes we think we know it all, and it's like, oh yeah, like nothing's gonna catch me off guard. And then you go through this and it's like, wait a minute, what else could I be missing, like unaware of in this life? So it sounds like you had a bit of that, where it's like everything seemed one way, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, plot twist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And especially given all the other stuff that happened in my life right before that, it was just like it just kind of felt like the universe had like clicked, and like now everything was. And like, again, like I'm not trying to like say something bad about my dad or something. Like to me, he's always going to be my dad. Like that will never change in a million years. But it's just like certain things about my life suddenly made sense. And like, maybe I'll get into that later, but looking back, it's crazy how I never actually, it's crazy that, so now looking at it with hindsight, it's crazy how I never considered that I might be that I might be donor conceived, because there's so many things in my life that kind of like make sense now. Did you go through that where it's like, oh, that's why this happened,
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, things click once you find this out, and now you have a legitimate reason to explain why, sometimes maybe things felt a little off growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. It as much of a shock as it was, and it was the shock of my life, there was this feeling of like, oh, so that's why, like relief in some sense. I mean, there's so many emotions that come with this, but that was definitely one of them for me, and it sure sounds like it was for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you share all of this with some of your friends, and it sounds like you were able to accept this quite quickly.
Yes.
And I want to unpack that a little bit more. So, what do you attribute that to?
I'll explain it. So first of all, I should explain that I'm a Muslim. So my religious faith is different from the rest of my family.
Okay.
And that's because when I was a young man, I was a very troubled young man. Like as soon as I hit puberty, adulthood, I went straight into drinking and drugs and parties and all kinds of risky behavior. And like as as the year, like every year, it was just getting worse and worse. I was completely out of control, like right away.
Yeah.
But then at age 22, I had a religious conversion experience where I decided to become a Muslim, and so that actually gave me like the structure to kind of become like a normal person, you know. Like after that, I got like a stable job, and I became like I was reading and exercising, and I wasn't doing drugs or drinking anymore, and I wasn't doing hookups and stuff. I was just like a normal guy. Eventually I got married and had kids, had a stable job. So that was like my gateway to become like a normal like person. But also that that got me pretty used to being different in my life. So I've been pretty comfortable being different.
Yeah.
You know, like, cause like my identity of who I am is, of course it's, you know, my family's a huge part of that, but also it's not, because we have a different religious faith. So like already I'm marked as different, and I had to just become used to that, you know. And that's still a huge part of my life. Like I'm still like a practicing Muslim, and like, you know, like I have a lot of family and friends and stuff who are not Muslim, and they think it's weird, but for me it's totally normal, you know. So they're just like, yeah, Tyler's Muslim, but you know, we don't like that, but we like Tyler, so we'll put up with that, you know.
Yeah.
So but you know, still, even though I had this like disciplined lifestyle, I still had a lot of problems with my relationships, and that was something which I never really understood, because in my mind I was like, I'm following what my father did, like, and that would always kind of torment me, like, why I'm following my father, I'm doing everything like he does it, how I saw him do it, but it's not working for me. It's worked great for him. Like I said, he's still crazy about my mom, and they've been together 40 years, and they're like just like really loving, and like they have a really happy home. And me, like I've been married and divorced twice, and like both those were super intense and like traumatic, and now I'm alone again. Now I'm single again, and I'm like, what happened? Like, why did I follow my dad, try to follow his footsteps, but it didn't work for me? I'm 39 and I'm living alone now, you know.
Yeah.
So that actually actually I remember talking to one of my friends before all this happened, before all this was revealed, and just saying to him, like, I feel like I have demons following me. Like, why is my life so crazy all the time? Like, I don't want to have a crazy life. I just want to have like a stable family life like my dad. But now I understand, maybe his way is not meant for me.
Right.
You know, I was following a different script than a script that that script was not intended for me, basically. But it's good. Like I said, I'm trying to walk the line here in this conversation, because I did learn a lot of really amazing life lessons from my dad, like about sacrifice and about patience and about controlling your emotions. All those things really helped me in my life, and I learned those from my dad for sure. But you know, there was always just this feeling like, am I a bad person? Like, am I a failure? It's just like a question that was never solved, you know?
Yeah.
But then when I got this news, it made sense. It kind of gave like a context behind it, you know? And I don't have to blame myself, right. You know? I don't have to blame myself for my, like, I don't have to blame myself for some of my like messy or complicated life situations. Like, there was this huge like secret that was kept from me my whole life.
Yeah. And
that probably has something to do with it, you know?
Sure.
I'll continue with my story now, because we kind of went on a side tangent. But so back to the story. My parents, they did give me a piece of information that this happened in Chapel Hill, which is a place in North Carolina. So, and it's a place where no one in my family has lived. So, and also no one in the DNA matches that I had looked up at that point. Those people were all from a different state. However, there was one grandchild of this great grandmother that I had looked up, who was in college for dentistry, I think, in Chapel Hill around that time. Out of all the grandchildren, this one person. And when I loaded up this guy's picture, and again, I don't know if this is the donor or not, but when I loaded up this guy's picture, I saw they actually had his wedding picture on there, and I could see he has a smile. It's like exactly like my smile, and it's not the smile of my family. Like my family's smile is very like much more like controlled, but my smile is like a Joker smile. And I've been told that too by people, you know. And I used to be ashamed of my smile for a long time. But when I saw that, it just made all these memories flood my mind of like different ways that my smile has affected my life, and I've tried to like be ashamed of it in different ways. And it was like this really intense experience of just surrounding the smile. And so that was like, I'll share one thing with you that kind of came to my mind. When I was in college, there was this girl that I liked, and you know, she, like, I heard that she kind of liked me too, and we were like in the same circle of friends. And one day she had one of those old style Polaroid cameras that goes like, and it just like feeds out the picture. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think people know. I don't think those are used anymore by anyone. But she had one of those, and she was just like taking like candid pictures of us. And she took one of me when I was laughing at something, and she showed me. She actually said to me, "I like this because this looks like the real Tyler."
Huh.
And when she said that, I got super embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like I was like my face got really upset, and I stopped talking to her. And you know what? I never talked to her again.
Whoa.
She just drifted away and went to a different circle of friends.
Wow. Interesting.
Like that. Yeah. That's one of the memories that came back,
Yeah.
you know, during this process.
It's almost like just a very subtle clue that the universe sent your way. Not that you would know what to do with it at all, but when you look back on it in hindsight, it's like, oh, man, maybe there was more meaning to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. So I spoke to one of my, so I have a mentor, like, who's like an older friend of mine who, you know, I call him like once a week, and he gives me advice, and he's a very wise person. He's actually very well known in the Muslim community. So he's a good person to get advice from, for me. And he, you know, I told him about this, and I actually shared with him that I was upset with my parents over this. And he told me, you have to make amends with your parents as soon as possible, and you have to forgive them. And I told him, but, you know, I don't know if I want to do that right now, you know, because they kept this from me.
Right.
And he explained to me something. He said, look, a lot of these people like you, they don't have parents. Like a lot of the people who were donor conceived, they are owned by the military. They don't have birth certificates. They were born like in Mexico or something, and they don't have it. They don't have any family relations at all. The government has total ownership of them.
Huh.
Because he was in the military before, so he remembers things like this. And they asked him too. He told me that they asked him to do it, but he said no. You know, but he always wondered what happened to these people. So, and when he said that, I realized that how great it is that I have parents, not just one, but two parents who are still in my life, and how much I appreciate them. And he told me, he said, you have to look at it from your parents' perspective. And I was like, no, I don't want to, because this is about me now. And, you know, what about how I feel? And he was just like, no, you're Muslim. All right. We have to be just all the time. And I was like, okay, that's right. So I kind of forced myself to get over it. But, you know, really when I thought about it, I do appreciate my parents a lot, and I love them a lot because they're huge in my life, and they've stood by me a lot when I needed them. Mm-hmm. So once we had that conversation and I thought about it, I called my mom and I told her that I forgive her and I love her, and she's always my mom. She's a great mom. And, I talked to my dad too and said, look, you're always my dad to me. That will never change. And then I went there again and I had the conversation in person. I was crying a lot. I was really boo-hooing,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the tears were just, I could barely even get a word out, but I did tell them those things because, and I'm glad I did, because actually I feel like now my relationship with my dad is getting better.
Yeah. I have found that to be a common theme, actually, for some donor conceived people, where I think what you could point to is if you're able to clear the air and like really lay all the cards on the table and get a true understanding of everyone's feelings and emotions and process them together, then the bonds strengthen. Obviously every family has different dynamics that they have to deal with. Sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do, but it sounds like in your case you were able to lay all the cards out and talk it all through collectively. Is that fair to say?
I think that's the road we're going down. Like, yeah. I think there's some stuff still they don't want to talk about this anymore, and I understand why. Especially after listening to a lot of the other stories on your podcast, that people in that generation probably felt a lot of maybe shame or guilt. They were guilted. I don't think it was like, I think they were actually guilted by the doctors and stuff. That's my understanding of what happened. I wasn't there obviously, but based on the other stories, I think they were shamed for doing this subtly and told you can never speak about this with anyone, and you have to keep it a secret for the rest of your life, and so they probably felt like they just had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's getting better with them because, like you said, it clears the air, and now we can be who we really are, and we don't have to we don't have to play out a script that's not real.
Right.
I mean, it is real to an extent, but there's this whole other side now. Mm-hmm. And they did tell me that they wanted me to keep this a secret, but I told them I can't keep this a secret. This is not my secret. This is my story.
Yeah.
And I love my story. You may not be comfortable with everything about who I am right now, but I am. For me, it's been an amazing experience for me. Actually, even things I started writing poetry after this. Now I'm just coming up with poetry throughout the day, and I've never been into that.
Yeah.
So it's been a really great thing for me to learn this. But I respect them. I respect their desire not to be faced with this if they don't want to, and that doesn't take away from my relationship with them.
Right. And I think in your case, this is still very fresh. So at least with how, my family dealt with a lot of this, I think the longer they could understand that I was accepting of this, the more comfortable they became being open with it. And that certainly did not happen overnight. It took a little while. And I'm interested to see if that's kind of a similar path that you and your parents go down yourselves. Because the more that you express, hey, I'm okay with this, this is actually lighting a spark. It's creating a new hobby or a new skill set that I didn't know existed that I have now. How could you be upset with that,
Yeah. And not just that, but all the family relations that you're discovering. I mean, I know that your donor family's not your actual family, but that's a whole nother side that I'm just discovering now. I'm only a month in, so I haven't really had a chance to make friendships with my donor sibs, but I already know there's at least 5 of us.
Yeah. So let's go in that direction. So you've discovered that you do have donor siblings, and remind me, were you able to identify the donor? I know you said you kind of saw a photo of someone who could have been it with a similar smile, but let's start there. How did you confirm, or did you confirm, who the donor actually is?
So that's the thing. It's not really confirmed yet. So I can't say for sure. I haven't reached out to this person, and actually some of my donor sibs, they have a different idea. So, and we haven't really come together and discussed that fully yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this person is the donor or not, really. But I think I'm pretty sure though. I think I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And then, so let's shift to the donor siblings. So it sounds like you've connected with at least a couple of them.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
So I did actually get in touch. So I've received replies back from my donor sis and my donor bro, who I reached out to before, but for some reason, they never responded to my email before until I found out. So they said that it just went to junk mail. So maybe that's just like the universe, like something in the universe that was like protecting me or something, or protecting them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's mysterious stuff going on in this process, really. But like after I found out, and I sent one last email to them both because I had their information, and they both reached out to me like right away and said, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's one of them offered to meet me in person, and the other one, my donor sister, she offered to have a phone call with me, and so we set up a phone call, and it was such a surreal experience for me, like because you hear how I talk right now, like I'm kind of like speeding up and slowing down and like stumbling and like kind of like going to this topic and that topic, like she was kind of doing that too. Like we had kind of the same like pace of conversation. So we're like with like after like 10 minutes or so, we're like interrupting each other, and we're like coming to like saying questions at the same time and stuff, and it's kind of crazy. And then after that conversation was over, again, there's this flood of memories, like, because that's another thing which I really struggled with my family, because my family's not like that at all. Like my dad, he is the most quiet and silent person I've ever known. Like he doesn't reveal any emotions. He doesn't share anything. He's just like poker face, and actually like it brought back these memories of like whenever I would start talking about something, he would just be like sitting there and like just kind of zoning out. And like sometimes I'd be talking to my mom as a teenager, and she would just say like, "What is wrong with you? Are you on drugs?" Like and like get up and leave. And I would just be like, "What do you mean? I'm just talking." Like and like sometimes like my mom would like, and my mom and my uncles, they actually complain. Like my mom and uncle, they will actually stop me and complain and say, "Whoa, Tyler, you're doing it again. All right, one topic at a time. We can't handle this." And that would always make me like kind of like embarrassed, like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, what did I do wrong?" Like, And so it's again like there's this feeling like I don't know what any of my donor siblings went through in their lives. I don't know. Like I said, they're basically total strangers to me at this point. Right. But for me, there was like an experience, like an unspoken, certain things about me. There was an unspoken message of like, this is not acceptable. Put this part of your personality away. Like the smile and the weird, the frantic talking that I'm doing right now. Like, don't reveal this to people. And that actually, like, that was something which, I told you before, I had this year of my life. Actually, it was the pandemic, when I just had this thought that I'm going to be me. And if anybody in my life doesn't like that, then that's their problem, not mine. And so I started this process of like becoming my own personality, when before I was I was like putting myself down, basically, like my personality down. And so after the pandemic, I was like, you know what, I'm going to be whoever I am naturally. And if you don't like it, tough. And that process actually caused me to lose a lot of people. And it was very disruptive, because but the thing is, I gained people after that who did appreciate me for who I am. And it was a very painful transition, but it was very, very healing. because I ended up with, like I said, friends who I could call in the middle of the night on a weeknight and be like, I was conceived by an anonymous sperm donor. and, and we're like cracking jokes and stuff late into the night. So that was a great experience.
I guess, it's still early stages, but have you also shared this with any extended family that you might have? Or is that something that is still kept under wraps for the time being?
I would say I'm keeping it under wraps because I made it pretty clear to my parents that I would not be keeping this secret.
Right.
But I'm not really close to my extended family like that. Like there's nobody in my family who I would call in the middle of the night and say this to.
Mm-hmm. Now, with respect to your parents, you kind of talked a bit about the relief that you felt when you had that conversation with them to kind of confront all of this. What do you suspect they may have felt in that moment when they kind of watched you receive this news? And, we don't have to speculate and come up with things that aren't necessarily true, but was there anything that you could see or that they said about how they felt?
I think anxiety. They did explain to me that they had intended to take it to the grave. Mm-hmm. And they intended for me never to know. So I think that their response was negative, actually, to me finding out. Mm-hmm. I didn't get the sense from them, the same sense of relief or, now we can move on from this. The reaction was more like, oh no, like who else is going to find out?
Right.
And actually, I do have a brother, and I did, that night, I did actually text him. Uh-huh. And I told him the news via text, which that may be kind of weird, but it makes sense for us. Mm-hmm. For some people, that might be like, why can't you call him? But for us, it makes sense, basically. Okay. But his response was so great. He just said, that's wild. Doesn't change anything. You're still my brother. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was just like a great response.
Right. Unconditional acceptance, we could call that.
Yeah.
Now, your brother, is he donor conceived as well, or
no?
He's not. Okay, got it. Okay, so you kind of touched a little bit on your faith being part of what has allowed you to accept this, but in your early days of processing all of this, is there anything else in your day to day that you could point to and say, like this helps me deal with stuff like this, or this has put me in position to withstand what otherwise would be the shock of your life? I mean, it probably is the shock of your life, if I had to guess.
That's a great question. Yeah, I would say one thing that helps me cope with this is my circle of friends. And of course, I mentioned my conversation with my mentor, who he is also kind of like a therapist for me too, or a counselor. And so if you have people in your life who you can actually be honest and open with, and who will listen to you and who will accept what you're saying and give you feedback, that is really a big blessing. And I am very blessed in that area. I have to say, alhamdulillah, that I have people like that. Yeah. No shortage of people like that. So that was one. And another thing was just that I had been through a lot of crazy stuff right before this. Like I mentioned, I was in a really intense relationship that fell apart all of a sudden. I don't want to go into all that, but that was something which was it broke my heart, honestly. Yeah. And then after that experience, this was like it felt like something good. I mean, like I said, I don't want to disrespect my parents.
Right, of course. So what does the path forward look like for you? Do you plan on trying to lean into some of these new connections that you have with your donor siblings? Are you kind of just going slow and steady with it? How do you see, the next month of knowing all this playing out?
I'm definitely going to take it slow, because another thing I've seen about people in this community is that maybe for some people there's like a rush of excitement, and that can lead to inflated expectations, and that could lead to disappointment. So that's actually why I haven't contacted this person who I think is my donor yet, because I'm like, well, I've got this other stuff going on in my life. I'm kind of like reeling from these events that just happened. So I don't want to like do something that could make me feel bad,
Sure.
potentially. Yep. So I'm taking it slow with my donor sibs. Like, so far we've vibed from what I can tell, and I do want to explore those relationships because like I love the idea of having donor siblings. Like, I think that is super, super cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know them. I don't know where their heads are at. I don't know what their feelings are towards it. And you can't just like thrust yourself in someone's life, especially for someone like me who has a very, very unique path in life, But then again, we all do. So I feel comfortable doing that, but I also want to take it slow.
Sure. Yeah. And do you know, like, are those donor siblings, are they in close proximity to you? Are you aware of where they're located?
Yeah, my donor bro is in the same city as me, actually. He lives here in Charlotte.
So when you saw him, I mean, Charlotte's a pretty big city, but if you have seen him, did he look familiar to you or no?
I haven't seen him yet. He's actually we scheduled it for later because he's out of town, so I haven't actually met him yet.
Okay, cool. Are there any other additional thoughts that maybe we haven't touched on yet that you think are part of your story that should be mentioned here?
There's one more thing. Would it be okay if I shared some poetry?
Sure. Yeah.
This is actually something I wrote about being donor conceived.
Got it. Okay, so this is within the last month. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This poem is called A Chill Wind. A chill wind was blowing, the feeling was mutual. People were not multiplying and fruitful. A plan was hatched to keep faces youthful, minds beautiful, soldiers dutiful. Discarded germ plasma was found to be useful. From this point, the records would cease to be truthful. A dark cloud came over me. I welcomed the shade. What's the use of calling a spade a spade? Confidentiality to be maintained through a medical regime of guilt and shame. The tongues were silenced, but the molecules remain in the trillions of cells, all screaming their name through the linear sequence of the DNA. I've got sunshine, because I've been released. Amateur detectives by the thousands at least, all working the case to achieve inner peace with the ramifications of what this means. Family and tribal connections increase dramatically. My brother, my sister, my niece. Oh, what a tangled web we've weaved. Oops. I guess I'm donor conceived.
I love it. That was great.
You like it?
Yeah, I like that a lot. You could,
Thanks.
I mean, you could put some music to that, and you've got a song there too. Like that's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, clearly this experience has sparked some creativity in you and unleashed an artist's side that, I don't know if you had that before, but clearly you have it now. Well, that's the beauty of this experience in a lot of ways. And I, in my own way, I say this sometimes, discovering the truth and that I'm donor conceived was the best gift I ever could have gotten, because this exists now. I'm talking to you. This connection is here, right? I wrote a book as well. I never knew I had that in me. The point being is that if this hadn't happened to me, then none of these things exist. So I like to keep those thoughts at the forefront and, view it as the gift that it is. So it sounds like you've got a similar view of it right now, and it's kind of playing out that way through your poetry. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And I want to say too, if anybody wants to reach out to me, if they feel like my story was relatable to them or inspired them in some way, and they want to just share something or just kick it with me, I'm totally open to that. Like, I welcome that.
And as we end on that note, I want to encourage everyone to accept invitations like the one Tyler just offered. Make those connections. Lean into the support of our community and all DCP communities. We're all stronger when we come together. Anyway, thank you, Tyler, for sharing your story with us. I can relate in a very direct way with your uncovering of a new talent previously unbeknownst to yourself. That's very much been a major theme in my own journey, and I'm happy to see it's become a part of yours too. As you may have noticed, the podcast now has a Patreon page where you can subscribe for bonus episodes and new content. I'll be releasing exclusive interviews with donors, recipient parents, therapists, and more every month, and Patreon is where you can find all of that. Most of this content will also exist directly through Spotify soon, too. But the Patreon page is linked in the episode description, or you can find even more information at the newly launched inconceivablyconnected.com website. That's also linked in the episode description here. Check it out. If you'd like to keep up with the podcast on social media, you can follow at Inconceivably Connected on Instagram to stay on top of what's to come here in the future. As always, if you're enjoying these episodes, please consider sharing with others and leaving a 5-star rating and review. Also, if you'd like to know more about my own story, if you haven't heard it on the subscriber episode yet, you can find my book online titled Inconceivably Connected, a true story of shocking DNA results and chasing the unknown. The music, editing, and production for the Inconceivably Connected podcast were done by myself, Nick Ludwig. And if you're donor conceived and would like to share your story on the podcast, please fill out the quick form linked in the episode description of any episode. That's all for this time. See you again next Monday.